Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today I have Peter Lucas with LegalShield here. Peter, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. Glad to be here. Thanks for taking time to talk with me today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking time. I imagine you're like a lot of us in that we used to do all of our business, most of our business in person. So I'm curious, first of all, explain a little bit about your business, about LegalShield, how you became involved with that, what services you offer, and then we'll get into what kind of impact COVID has had on you and your business.
Sure. So LegalShield's been around for 47 years, and it's basically what we've done is we've kind of leveled the playing field for average everyday folks to have access to the legal system, right? You typically the wealthy folks were able to afford all the legal representation and support they could handle, and it was great. But the everyday folks like us that we don't have that luxury of having unlimited financial resources to pick up the phone and talk to an attorney for anything that happens in their lives. We needed something. We need to level the playing fields. That's basically what LegalShield has done. So I got involved. Basically, Kathy did like 9 years ago.
Your wife, Kathy.
Yeah, my wife
Yes.
Kathy. So we had to get our wills prepared, and she met somebody from LegalShield and said they got a great program, and it's really affordable. It's like $25, and I'm like, no, wills cost $600. No, no, impossible. But long story short, we kind of got involved. We got the membership ourselves, and she looked at the business model and said, like, hey, I can see us doing this as our business, as we get older and get out of corporate America. So the deal was, if she could go ahead and fire this business up and make it work, and when her income matched my corporate income, I'm going to retire and jump on board and do LegalShield full time. And it'll be 3 years September that happened. I fired my boss in corporate America September 11th,
Nice,
2017.
nice work. Congratulations
Yeah,
on that. That's
yeah,
fabulous. Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
so I'm curious, Peter, how much of your business prior to COVID-19, how much of your business was face to face, sitting down face to face or networking? That's that typical sort of thing that most of us have done. And how has COVID-19 impacted you?
Yeah, my business, a lot of like 90% of it was face to face. I visit with business owners and, do a lot of networking events and meet folks, like the ACA coffees. We go to those coffees on Friday mornings and meet just all kinds of people and have great conversations, meet wonderful people, and then have a follow-up meeting, a one-on-one, and talk about their business. And, since COVID came along, it ain't happening. So we can't, and we're forced to leverage the technology that we have to try to uh, replace those meetings with virtual contacts. And for me, the struggle has been, I think I realized that I really thrive on meeting somebody face to face. You can get the human energy starts to flow. You get to see them, eyeball to eyeball, and there's a lot of nonverbal cues and communications that happen just physically being in the same space, and that's hard to replicate on a flat screen on a Zoom or whatever platform you're using.
Yeah, so
And
you've been forced, like all of us, to take that step to these virtual meetings like we're doing now, but you're
yeah,
you're still finding just that you're missing that face to face, that human connection that you really enjoyed before.
I think we all are. I think people that are, entrepreneurs or business people or just humans in period in general, just they need that interaction. It's important. That's what we're created for. We're not created to be isolated in our homes and just locked down. So the curious part, there's a gentleman, my life coach that I work with, he's an ACA guy. We talked about how do you bridge that gap between thriving and having intense communications with somebody face to face, and doing it over a Zoom platform. And we kind of talked about it, and the realization we had was, if you had to sit down and blindfold yourself and communicate your emotion and the sincerity and the functions of your business without being able to see somebody and talk to them and do whatever, it's kind of like trying to do it blindfolded. So that was our challenge, was to pretend, just try to put on a blindfold and and maintain that same communication. And that's a challenge. It's a lot of just verbal cues, inflections. It's a whole different, it's changing everything about how we communicate in today's business world.
So, so,
to
so
get the energy done.
so I'm curious, Peter, in terms of that, because I felt that challenge as well. I miss the hands-on, the face-to-face as well. But I'm curious as to whether or not you feel like you're making some progress with that, like you're kind of stepping up your game a little bit. And I'm curious too, in terms of since you're working in LegalShield, there's got to be documents, that sort of thing. Are you able to handle signing documents, sharing documents, all of that sort of thing virtually? How has that been for you?
Yeah. So yeah, I've adjusted pretty well. Making that change. I think it's not complete yet. I mean, it just takes time to. It's just developing a new skill, right? So we have to develop that. That might take months of doing it, and you get better at it as you go. And on the other side too, the people that are receiving the information are being more tuned into receiving information on that platform too, right? So there's both sides. There's giving information, receiving information. I think we all have to learn that flow of info, right? Documents, God, there's some tremendous resources. DocuSign is a big resource, for people to sign documents online. Scanning, a lot of folks are just, I'll send them a document, they'll print it out, they'll scan it, sign it, send it on back. And that's how we kind of handle our business documents. A lot of online technology, like a lot of my information, my business is, I have a website. People just log in and just deal with it online. So
Wow,
it's forcing an evolution once again to come out of the paper realm and get into the technological realm and bits and
absolutely.
bytes. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hey, so I'm curious. I've asked folks, as I've been visiting with folks over the last few weeks about this, if there have been any um, opportunities or surprises on the positive side that you've found from being restricted to staying at home. Is there been anything that you've looked at and gone, I may not have done this if it hadn't been for the fact that I've been restricted?
Yeah. So you talking on a business perspective or just on a life stage?
I'm open to either business or
Whatever.
personal. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
or both. Yes.
I think personally, I was, I think in some ways things have gotten better. I think we as a society have become more um, aware of each other, more tolerant of each other, more appreciative of each other because now you can't see people. You can't see your mom, your dad, your grandfather, your grandmother, your sister, your brother, your new nephew or niece. You can't. So you need to I think we all need to find ways to communicate with each other that are more important than just an emoji and a text. I think hearing somebody's
Sure.
voice over the phone is much more impactful and I think meaningful to people these days. I think so. I think it's in a weird way. It's like it's been kind of a reset for people. I think there's a lot of upside to it. I think people are realizing they can get along with less than they used to. They don't have to be inside all the time. I see more people out and about walking their dogs and riding their bikes and playing with their kids and just more people outside, waving when you walk by. So I think,
Yeah.
in that respect, I think it's been an upside, I guess,
That's
to
good. Yeah,
to
that's
that.
good. I have found some similar sort of things. I know that today we happen to be talking on a Tuesday, and Tuesdays are my grocery shopping days. And I've noticed that folks are much calmer, much less of a rush in the grocery store, respectful of people's distances, for the most part. So you're right. There has been some upside.
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Hey, so as we kind of are heading toward wrapping up things here, any kind of last advice that you'd want to share with folks that may make their life easier as they're staying at home?
I will. Well, for what I've learned is, I just think once again, just be more patient, be more tolerant. There's a lot of what I'm experiencing, and as far as my business goes, and what's out there in the world is, there's, excuse me, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for scammers, for identity theft that's happening right now. I get texts from myself, and what's up
Sure.
with that, right? Like, I didn't call myself. I
Yeah,
get
sure.
email blasts, I get spam phone calls, and I think the level of identity theft is really going to, just skyrocket due to this. checks are coming through the mail now for people getting unemployment money. They're getting funds from the government, tax returns. So I would just caution people out there to make sure that you're not responding to any kind of emails if you don't recognize where it came from. I don't care how good it sounds. I get a lot of it. I just go, nope, I don't know who you are. Next, bye-bye. Phone calls, block. I don't really care, because there's a lot of that out there that is happening. And one of the resources that we have at LegalShield too is we help folks with identity theft and restoration. So if you need a
Fantastic.
resource to talk to learn more about it, give me a shout. I'll share with you what we have to offer. But
Sounds great.
just be cautious. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity for fraud, and for identity theft that's happening, and people just aren't focused on that right now. They're just so concerned with getting through their day-to-day lives, and just, what are we going to do? How do we deal with this? And there's, like I say, an opportunity for them just to not be as vigilant and get caught up in all this stuff. So,
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, Peter,
yeah.
thanks so much for taking time and sharing some of your thoughts with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Tim.
You bet. Talk soon.
Take care now.
Yep.